Well, good morning, everyone. How are you doing? You doing okay, Fernando?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, it is a new day, and we have a new car. We have us a Toyota Highlander. This is a Highlander right here. The reason why the engine is up is because we're going to be doing a front camera, a
rear camera,
and also a 4200 with some steering wheel controls.
That's my favorite.
That box right there. Apparently this is Fernando's favorite radio. Now inside this car he has the factory JBL system. This is what the factory radio looks like. So all it's gonna need is little wingies here and here. These guys right here, the Metro 8202s. The plan is to get the factory radio out of the dash. We need to see if he needs any form of JBL amplifier integration. Right now it's not calling for one on the internets, but I don't always trust the internets. How do you feel about that?
Don't trust it. No.
Okay, official words from Fernando. Like I was saying, we want to get the radio out. We need to figure out what type of front-facing camera we're gonna do, because we want it. You know, anyways, we'll cover that when we get to it. Let's just get started. Come on, let's go inside. All right, so we have the 8113 generic harness. By generic, I mean it's not a smart harness. What we're gonna do is we're going to take the blue-white wire and we're going to twist it with the yellow wire, which is constant. And then there's also a ground input, which is the black-white. So we'll just go ahead and twist that to our ground. That's just a shield wire. We'll make sure that the yellow doesn't touch anything. We have a tone generator. Go ahead and plug in. All right, so we're not getting anything there. Good. So the amplifier itself is connected to accessories. All right, so this harness will go ahead and work for us. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that there may or may not be engine noise at the very end. If there is, it's no problem. We're gonna use 2-pack SNI1 noise filters. Those are what we use anytime we have an issue with a harness like this to get rid of it. Hopefully we won't, but if we do, golden. So that was really the test we needed to do right off the bat, was figure out what harness we need, because we needed to inform the customer if we were going to need a harness, because it's an expensive harness to say the least. So we wanted to let him know. Now let's go ahead and move out to the front of the car and figure out what front camera we're going to do. Camera we're thinking about using for the front camera we've used before. It's the PCAM 150. Apparently it's the day they mow the grass, so if you hear the lawnmower guy in the background, no, that's irritating the crap out of me, but we'll move forward.
Go outside and say, hey, say hello to the camera.
Yeah, so to test it out, we have our camera tester here. We have our little camera. There is a nice flat area right here underneath the car that I'm thinking this would be perfect on, just like this. Makes it almost invisible. You can't even see it when you're standing up. It's giving us a really nice front view of everything. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that right now the camera is backwards and it has backup lines. This camera, once we get to the end here on these, allows us to turn both those off. Once we decide this is the camera to go with, which I'm feeling like it is, we can go ahead and switch those, which I'll show you how to do on the bench once we get there. What I just want to do is figure out, if we do use this camera, how am I going to run the wire? Now, before you ask, how am I powering the camera? I'm just using one of my little M12 battery packs here, because I knew it was going to stay on for, might stay on for 20-30 minutes. I didn't want it. This does have an output for a camera. I just don't want to waste it, battery on this, because typically the battery on this lasts almost a year.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Pretty good time. All right, let's head over to the bench. Inside the box, I was wrong. They don't really give you good screws. They give you some long screws. They give you a male-to-male butt connector for RCAs, and they give you a, looks like almost an 1/8 inch shim. So if you need to move the camera some, they give you this. Because you got to remember, an 1/8 inch here, way out there is a pretty big distance. So you don't need like a 1/2 inch shim or anything. Now the camera, although it looks like it would be a fisheye and move, is epoxied in place. So there is no adjustment on it once it's up. Now on the end here, we have 2 groups of wires. We have a white group and a green group, and they're already cut. So that means when they're cut, they give you those options. So disable those options, we just have to connect them back together. White is mirror and green is parking lines. So if you do want front-facing parking lines, which is entirely up to you, you can just leave those active. I think they're really bad up front. I don't think they look all that great. So we're gonna go ahead and take them off. So it's looking the right direction. Right is right, left is left. That's really what you want. So we're done with the camera tester. Now what we need to do is go ahead and get this guy all prepped and ready to go into the car. To do that, we're gonna go ahead and insulate the heck out of this so it is heat and weather resistant as much as possible. To start with, we're gonna go ahead and use the high temp tape from Tessa. This is a tape that is good for in the engine bay. We're gonna wrap the whole cable in 1 row of this first. Next, we're gonna go ahead and cover the whole thing in loom. Next, we'll wrap it on 1 more layer of high temp Tessa tape. The camera harness is all prepped and ready to go. This should keep it pretty safe. Let's go ahead back over to the car and get this thing mounted up and the wire ran. We're gonna drill some pilot holes so we just don't screw directly into the bumper. We're gonna use some little 1/4 inch screws so that we don't push, you know, we bring this down because there's the bumper right above it. We don't want to push this down and cause any stress on the bumper. Now all we need to do is snake our wire up into the engine compartment and lock it into place. The wire made it all the way up to where the fuse relay box is, which is perfect because we'll go ahead and make our connection behind this box back here with the wire that we run in from the car that goes behind the radio. We're gonna stop at this point as far as this install goes because Fernando likes to pick up at this point. When he runs the rear camera wire forward, he'll go ahead, drill a hole in the wall and grab this one and run those all the way up into the radio. To keep on pace though, what we're gonna move over to is the bench, and we're gonna get the kit and the harness and the radio mounted so that when we're done, we're all meeting at one point. All right, so the first step we want to do is go ahead and remove these brackets off the side of this so that we can get this radio out of the hole. Once we've done that, we go ahead and set this aside. We're not going to need this for anything. Now there's a couple kits that I like, and I'm going to use the term like, in that when I have 2 alternatives, one sucks less than the other, and in that case that's what the 8202 is. This kit sucks less than everyone else's. Now it is a universal kit, so if you are trying to figure out your car, there is a ton of instructions in here that will probably help you figure out how to get your dash apart. Let's go ahead and get the radio out of the box. Now I will tell you, these kits, they're all gonna need to be modified. None of these are just gonna screw on and be like, bam, yeah, look at that, dog. Ain't gonna happen. Be prepared to do some cutting on these. The other thing to keep in mind too is that if you're doing a Pioneer, the factory screws will not work for this. These are a fine thread, these are a coarse thread. Alright, so a certain amount of manhandling was involved, but now what we want to do is go ahead and power this thing up and make sure that it opens and closes okay. Now you guys ask a lot of questions about like how do we power up radios when we're on the bench. For something as simple as just opening and closing the radio, there again, M12 battery, it's a 12 volt battery. It'll do that. It opens It closes, no issue. Cool. So the only thing I want to do is add a little piece of foam across the bottom here like I often do. This is just black 1/16 inch foam. We're just going to add that across the bottom lip here so that you can't see into the dash if you're looking really, really close. And it is one of the reasons why we use this red cloth, because it makes it easier to see through, because I can see the red super easy. So along with wiring up the radio, we're also adding steering wheel controls, and for that we're going to use the SWIRC. So first thing we want to do is look up this particular car.
2007.
Thank you. Alright, so this is going to be an 8, and we need note 2, and we're going to need the Toyota interface. So how this breaks down is the make, the model, the year, any form of CAN interface, no. Cut loops. There's 2 loops on this harness, a purple and a brown. None, so don't cut either one or remove them. We're going to be using the white wire, so that means the green, yellow, blue, orange won't be used. We're going to need the Toyota harness. That's in here. This is 20 pin guy. We're going to use pins 7 and 8 and probably 9. We're going to program it for version 8. Write it on the back. And then we need to see note 2, which is in here. Connect interfaces white wire to pin 7. Connect interfaces white black wire to pin 8. Connect pin 6. Ooh, got it wrong. It's 6. Alright, so it's before. To the chassis ground. So we'll come over to this guy right here, and we'll write 7 is white, 8 is white black, 6 is black. And all 3 of them are in a row there. 6, 7, 8. Now we're not going to need this piece of paper here. We are going to need this piece of paper, and the reason why is we're programming. So let's open it up to the middle. We'll go to the page 2. We're doing a Pioneer, so we want to go ahead and turn this dial to 7. And then we'll save the rest of it, this page here, on 3 for the actual programming when we get into the car. But we need red for accessory. We're gonna need black. Black is split into 2. You have one that's gonna go into the harness and one that is going to go over to this plug here. And then we need the white wire. And on the white wire, there's going to be a white red, and a white black. We don't need the white red, so we can go ahead and remove that. We just need the white and white black. The rest of these colors, as we said, we're not gonna need. Alright, so we're ready to go. What we want to do first is insulate the speaker wires we're not going to be using on the Pioneer wiring harness. Now we have our 2 camera wires. This guy is the front, this guy is the rear. I'm going to go ahead and solder these 2 together. Now because it is a Toyota, and quite frankly I never trust Toyota grounds, I'm going to go ahead and add in our own ground wire. I'm also going to add in their black white ground wire here, along with the other ground wire on here as well. So now what we want to do is go ahead and add in our camera wires and our steering wheel controls to the harness. As you guessed it, I really don't like putting big bundles of wire. I like kind of staggering them down the line. It's just a personal preference. I like doing it that way. So our harness is all set and ready to go. It's a bit of an octopus, but let's try to go over it. We have our reverse trigger input. We have the ground that we went ahead and added that will screw into one of the metal braces behind the radio. We have the 3 wires that are going to go off to our steering wheel control. We're going to use this piece of information here to attach those. We have our actual steering wheel control harness. We have our 2 camera inputs. This is camera rear. This is camera front. We have our 2 camera feeds. We've gone ahead and labeled one R and one F. And then we have our steering wheel control that will plug into the back of our main harness. Then over here we have our front and rear inputs for sound. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this into the car, get our steering wheel controls hooked up. Oh wow. That's not good. Okay, so we just noticed in the harness this orange wire right here. This is the amplified turn on, and it comes into here and plugs in here. This is what gives us good FM reception. This harness doesn't have an input to power this wire. That's probably going to be an issue for us. Alright, let's go see if we can find a wire that we can plug into this harness before we get to the steering wheel controls. Steering wheel controls are going to be on this guy here. There's only 3 wires for it, so it's not like it's going to be all that challenging. It's just these 3 guys right here. It's the only wires on this plug. So we'll get to that in a minute. We'll just strip these back, solder it on. But we need to find a wire to tap into here. I mean, otherwise we could just make a jumper that's going to tap into this, no big deal. but it would be nice to find a plug that we could just snap into place here. So we actually have an old plug here, the same plug. This was from a RP4s that we've done. We keep all those extra parts for something like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and tap our new power antenna feed into the accessory wire. And the reason for that is that the Toyota power antenna leads typically draw way too much amperage for the remote turn on, and they wreak all kinds of havoc with Pioneers. Now we can go ahead and get the steering wheel control wires hooked up. Now I will tell you that this drawing for the Toyota harness, this drawing is terrible. It looks like the main wiring harness. It doesn't look anything like this harness that it's supposed to represent unless you really look at them close to one another. It's such a small harness and they drew it so big compared to like harnesses that are around it. It's really more this size. Now a lot of the times they will give you colors, like they'll say white to red and black to gray. The reason why they don't do it on some cars is because they're giving you the pin, because the wires aren't always going to be the same colors. So these 3 pins will always be the pins, but these 3 colors might not always be the colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so now we want to wait for this to flash 8 times. Now, if you didn't catch it flash 8 times, you can turn the key off, turn the key on. Every time you turn on and off the key, it's gonna flash 8 times. Now, on his steering wheel, he has volume up and down, track up and down in mode. So what we're gonna do is volume up and down, track up and down. In mode, we're gonna reprogram for voice recognition. So we'll grab our mapping sheet here. We'll turn over to the second from the last, which is Pioneer. First 2 are volume up and down. Then we have mute, preset up, preset down, source. We wanna skip all 4 of them and go down to track up and down. And then we have band, phone, menu, call, answer and hang up. We're gonna skip all those and go down to voice activation. To skip, you simply just press the button, hit it once to start, volume up, volume down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then track up, track down, band, phone, answer, and VR. One more time. It's gonna blank out, it's gonna flash a bunch of times, and we're done. Volume up, volume down, track, track, boom. What's the weather like today?
It's currently partly...
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start it up and check for engine noise. Bigger noise.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, noise. You wanna grab the noise filter? Or you want me? So as we suspected at the very beginning, we were gonna have some form of noise, and we weren't let down. We had noise. Now there's 2 different noises that you can get in these JBL systems. One is just basic white noise, which is just, that's fine. Most systems have some form of white noise, but it's white noise with like you're choking a cat every time you press the gas pedal. That's the kind of noise we don't want. The SNI1 noise filter is our go-to noise filter for that. As we said, we went ahead, plugged it in, the noise was still there. So then what we do is we go to this guy here. This is an LP74. It's basically just a 4-channel high level to low level. A lot of the times, if this doesn't work, you can then add this as the RC outputs, use the deck power, and that will get rid of the noise. In this case, that didn't work either. What we actually found is that in the harness, remember when we were hiding this up, there was those 4 ground wires we had, the one going here, and the 3 from the harness. Well, the one that is attached to the RCAs was our culprit. That ground was giving us the noise. As soon as we cut that ground, we were back in business, we had no more issues. And also, adding this extra ground to the bar like we did actually helped us out a lot, because that was one of the first things we did too, was just go ahead and disconnect this ground. And when we did, we got more noise. What we do is we go ahead and double stick 2 of these together. We label them front, rear, put the labels on here so they all match up, front, front, rear, rear. We'll go ahead and plug them into our wires here, and we will get this thing going. Now the thing to keep in mind too, anytime you have to go through and disconnect stuff like this, whatever testing you've done, make sure you just start over from scratch, because things get unplugged and you don't know if you've remembered to plug them in or anything like that. All right, so there is our tag cam. And here is our front camera. All right, let's hop in the car and see what they look like from the driver's perspective. Walk towards the car. Keep going. Right there. Then hit the X when you're done. All right, guys, this one with the dual camera setup is all set and ready to go. We're done. Fernando?
On to the next one.